Have you ever felt like you're wearing a mask every day? Smiling, agreeing, fitting in, even though something deep inside you screams that you don't belong? What if that feeling isn't a flaw, but a truth you've been taught to ignore? In this video, we're diving into the brutally honest mind of Arthur Schopenhauer, a philosopher who believed that most people live in illusions, and that pretending to fit in is the surest path to losing yourself. By the end of this, you'll see the world differently. More importantly, you'll see yourself differently, and maybe for the first time, you'll stop apologizing for not belonging. If you've always felt out of place, that might be because you're not meant to fit in. Arthur Schopenhauer didn't believe that humans were inherently social, happy, or wise. He believed we were driven by something darker, a blind, irrational force he called the will to live. And most people, they serve that will without question, chasing pleasure, avoiding pain, conforming to whatever lets them belong. But not everyone. Schopenhauer believed that truly conscious individuals are rare, and because they see, they suffer. They don't fall in line. They question. They feel too much. And that pain you carry, that sense of disconnection, that's not your weakness. It's your awakening. The more awake you are, the less at home you feel in a world built on shallow imitation. That ache isn't a problem to fix. It's a signal to listen to. But if the masses live in delusion, why do we work so hard to be like them? Most people aren't living. They're sleepwalking in unison. Schopenhauer saw society not as a place of wisdom, but of distraction. He believed that most people cling to shared norms, beliefs, and behaviors because it keeps them from facing the brutal truth of existence. They chase trends. They parrot opinions. They confuse popularity with truth and comfort with clarity. And you feel pressured to play along, to laugh at things that aren't funny, to celebrate what you don't value, to silence your doubt so you can belong to a world that doesn't question itself. But every time you do that, you shrink. You trade authenticity for approval. And what you end up with is not connection, it's self-betrayal. Here's the harsh truth. The majority is not always wise. Sometimes it's just louder. So what happens when you stop pretending and walk away from the herd? Isolation isn't loneliness, it's clarity. Schopenhauer believed that solitude wasn't just a preference for the thoughtful. It was a requirement, because only in silence, only when you remove yourself from the noise of social performance, can you hear your own mind clearly. It's in solitude that you begin to ask deeper questions. Who am I without an audience? What do I believe when no one is telling me what's right? And in that silence, something powerful emerges. Freedom. Not the freedom to do whatever you want, but the freedom to think for yourself, to live without apology, to see without distortion. Yes, it's isolating. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but it's also real. Choosing solitude is a revolt against mental conformity. It's a way of saying, I'd rather be alone with the truth than celebrate it for a lie. If that resonates, if this content speaks to the part of you that's tired of pretending, subscribe. You won't find surface-level advice here, just honesty. But what do you gain from choosing this harder path? What if suffering isn't a curse, but a sign you're awake? Schopenhauer didn't see suffering as something to escape. He believed it was the foundation of conscious life. To be aware is to suffer, because awareness reveals how fragile, fleeting, and chaotic life really is. But that awareness is also a doorway. In suffering, you don't just feel pain, you see through illusion. You stop chasing hollow pleasure. You start asking real questions. You create art, music, philosophy. These aren't escapes from pain. They're expressions of truth born from pain. They are how the individual transcends blind will, not by erasing suffering, but by transforming it into insight. Seeking happiness may be the wrong goal. Seek truth, even if it hurts, especially if it hurts, because in truth, you gain something deeper than pleasure. You gain clarity, and that's the beginning of a different kind of peace, one not built on ignorance, but on awareness. But now you face the real question. How do you actually live in this world when you no longer belong to it? The price of authenticity is loneliness, but the reward? Freedom. Living authentically means refusing to shapeshift for social comfort. It means walking away from conversations that insult your intelligence. It means embracing silence over fake connection. Schopenhauer didn't offer easy answers. He offered a challenge. Stop looking outside for who you are. You're not here to be liked. You're here to see, to think, to experience life without needing to package it for others' approval. That might mean losing friendships, being misunderstood, feeling invisible in a culture obsessed with visibility. Most people aren't rejecting you. They're rejecting the discomfort of your clarity. They sense the weight of your honesty, and they shrink from it. Let them, because in the space their absence leaves behind, you'll find something far more real, your own mind, your own compass, your own peace. Authenticity isn't about rebellion for its own sake. It's about no longer betraying yourself to be accepted by those who fear the truth. The world tells you that standing alone is failure, but it's not. It's strength. It's sovereignty. Stop trading your truth for a seat at the table. Build your own table, even if no one else sits at it. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to wake up. And waking up means letting go of the idea that you need to be understood to be real. You exist. That's enough. If fitting in is a lie, who are you when no one's watching? You were taught to hide your strangeness, to suppress your questions, to smile when you wanted to scream. But Schopenhauer's message is clear. Stop pretending. The world may never fully understand you, but that doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're awake. Most people live in echo chambers of comfort and conformity, and when you step out of that, they'll tell you you're wrong. Not because you are, but because you've stopped reflecting their illusion. You weren't made to fit. You were made to see, to feel, to think, and that will always isolate you. But it will also set you free. Let your solitude deepen into vision. Let your strangeness become your strength. You weren't born to echo. You were born to witness. And that calling isn't easy, but it's yours. You don't need permission to be yourself. You just need the courage to stop performing. So take off the mask. Let your difference speak. And ask yourself, not tomorrow, not someday, but right now, if you stop pretending to fit in, who would you finally become?